Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is the Miro Consulting webinar on Java licensing, subscriptions, and audits. We're going to begin the webinar in about 1 minute. We're going to give everyone a chance to log in. I'm sure, as many of you know, whenever you want to attend an important meeting, it's always the time where your Zoom or your Microsoft Teams or whatever it is decides now is the perfect time to update for the next 10 minutes. So we're not going to wait that long, but we are going to give everyone a chance to log in. And again, we're just giving everyone a chance to log in here. We're going to begin the presentation in about 30 seconds. But, sometimes these things like to update themselves or, give people a chance to get the earphones. The same thing. Zoom doesn't want to update. Your earphones don't want to connect. We've all been there. But it only ever happens during important meetings, of course. It never happens for the unimportant ones. All right, let's begin the webinar. My name is Sean Donahue, and I am a Java licensing expert here at Miro Consulting. And this is our presentation on Java licensing, subscriptions, and audits. And by the end of this, you'll know the rules. You'll know how to identify a free versus a paid version. And you will know how to avoid failing a very, very expensive audit. And if you're anyone like me, when I go to webinars, I like to try to write down everything I see. I like to take screenshots. Let me tell you, there's no need to do that for my webinar. Right after the event, we're going to send you a Java FAQ. It is going to have literally every single data point I show you. It's going to have every chart. It's going to have every pricing. It's going to have absolutely everything. So you don't need to just scribble everything down like crazy. We're going to send it all to you. And if that's not enough, we're also going to be posting the recording of this online so you or your colleagues can review it whenever it's convenient for you. And before we begin, I like to always just explain who are we? Why should you listen to us at all? We're Miro Consulting, and we're the leading global provider of software asset and subscription management services for Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon Web Services, and Salesforce. Basically, we specialize in license management, audit advisory, negotiation tactics, support management, and cloud services. We basically help our clients get the best ROI on their software licensing and subscription investment, and we keep you out of trouble by making sure you don't fail an audit or sign a bad contract. The best thing about working with us is that we have a performance guarantee where we're going to save you more money than the cost of our fees. And we do that with all of our vendors. And that makes it so there's no risk involved when talking to us, working with us. We're the only one who makes this sort of promise. And that's because we can deliver it. The last couple of things I've delivered, we've made over 10 times as amount in savings as our fees. So usually it's so much more than that we never even get close to that. So again, if you would like to save hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on one of these vendors, we can come in, we can help you do that right away. A little too far. All right, real quick, here's what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about the changes that have happened in 2023, 2024, and I don't believe we've had any in the last week, but any in 2025 that I'm made aware of. We're also going to talk about the Oracle subscriptions that are available. We're going to talk about the for a fee, in other words, it costs money releases, and the ones that do not cost money, the free releases. And that includes ones that are formerly free. And that's why we leave it up here on the deck here, because we want to make sure that you see this, because this is the biggest change. We're going to talk about the different licensing agreements that these or subscription agreements that you might have for Java, because there's multiple contracts and terms and conditions it falls under. We're going to talk about what happens if you get a Java sales inquiry to see if you are ripe for an audit. We're going to talk about upgrading Java, as well as possibly some alternatives to Java. So you might ask where we are. So Oracle is continuing to audit both its clients and its non-clients for Java. And what I mean by that is you don't have to have other Oracle products for Oracle to audit you for Java. If you have no other Oracle products, Oracle can and has audited many organizations for their Java use. We estimate it's probably roughly 20% of Oracle's clients have purchased Java licensing at this point. It's creeping very close to 25. I'll probably update this slide for my next presentation. But more and more customers are finding they need to get a subscription because they're getting calls from Oracle. And by that point, it's usually too late for them to do anything besides buy a subscription. We're going to talk about what kind of subscriptions they're even on offer. And since 2019, when all Java went to be a paid product, we've helped dozens of organizations with their Java licensing. Since it got changed, these organizations have saved millions of dollars working with us over what they would have paid normally. So I would encourage anyone who doesn't want to pay full price, who doesn't want to buy what Oracle puts in front of them, who wants to know what their alternatives are, please let us know, and we can steer you in the right direction on that. So with the first question I like to always ask myself, of my audience here is, what is your plan for Java? And I've been asking this since 2019. And what I always say to my audience here is, you share your information with me, I will send it back to you. I'll send you this if you're one of the people who votes in my little thing here. We will go and send you the results of this. And I'm also going to send you the results of the last couple of months where we've done this. So you can see the progress that different organizations are making. You can see where your organization fits into the general scheme of things here. And when I first started doing these polls, man, I had almost everybody say we have no current plan. And it has made me feel great that as I've done these over the past months, that we have no current plan has shrunk quite a bit. So again, if you want to give me an answer, I'm going to leave this up for another like 5 seconds or so, and we will get this out to you. Again, thank you for taking part. If you fill out my questions, like I said, I will send it to you afterward. And I'll give you one more second here to get an answer in. Thank you very much, guys. I greatly appreciate it. All right. So let's talk about the Java pricing change. So the big change after 2019 was the first change when Oracle said Java now costs money. The big change came in 2023 when Oracle announced that the way they charge your organization was going to change. Instead of charging you per laptop or per processor or per core or per thread, they're going to charge you per employee. Why? Well, it's very difficult for Oracle to figure out all those other things, but it's very easy for Oracle to figure out how many employees you have. So that's nice and easy. There's many organizations that sell data on companies like the one you're at, and they will tell that Oracle how many employees you have. And Oracle's philosophy is simple, or the rule is simple, I should say. You need a Java license for every single employee. And when I say every employee, I mean even if they don't use Java. I mean even if they don't use a computer. If you've got an employee who rakes the leaves outside the office building, Oracle believes they need a Java license. So again, even if they don't use a computer, they need a Java license. And the definition here that Oracle gives is here. It says all of your full-time, part-time, temporary employees, all of your part-time contractors, your outsourcers, your consultants. Let me tell you, if you're lucky, your dog doesn't need a license, because let me tell you, your dog's already got a name. He's halfway to named user already. So, just about everybody needs a Java license. And that's the big takeaway. I like to make sure people understand that. It's not that they have to use Java. They just work for you at all. They're on the payroll. They need a Java license. Now, if you're wondering how much that's going to cost, this is the price per month. As you can see, it breaks down as you have more employees. Oracle will cut you more of a deal. If you have more than 50,000 employees, contact us. We can help you understand what Oracle will probably charge you once it's more than 50,000 employees. There are some secondary questions. What industry are you in? How much are you really using it? That kind of a thing. Oracle will break it out. But this is the general pricing. As you can see, this could add up real fast depending on how many employees you have at your organization. And this is per month if anybody didn't catch that at the top. And to give you an idea what it was before this, it was what we call the legacy metric, was the per processor and the NUP, the named user plus. If you purchased Java already on the legacy metric, you don't have to buy a per employee subscription. Now, you might get a call from a Java rep, and they might say, no, you have to buy it the new way. That Java rep's not lying. That Java rep is just confused. There's not a whole lot of people who have the legacy metric. So we have encountered quite a few Oracle reps who they just don't realize it, and they think that, no, everybody has to buy the new model. That's not true. You don't. If you bought the old one. If you didn't buy the old one, it's no longer available. So, like I just said, if you already have it under the old metric, you don't need it. You should be able to renew. Now, we're not saying absolutely everyone in every case. Everyone we've worked with has been able to, but you should be able to. And this is the exact language Oracle uses. The existing licenses, you don't need to do anything. However, if you'd like to migrate to the new system and pay them more money, Oracle would be happy to oblige you, as I'm sure you're shocked to hear. So let's get into the details here. How does Oracle even know you're using Java? So let's just imagine you have no other Oracle products, you don't have an Oracle rep, you're not talking to Oracle. How the heck does Oracle even know that you're using Java? Well, it's very simple. Java phones home. And it's nothing nefarious. Java is simply calling up the Oracle service and saying, hi, I'm a local Java install. Do you have any security updates for me? And that is how Java stays secure, by phoning home to Oracle, getting security updates. Well, when Java phones home to Oracle, Oracle gets your IP address of where that Java installation is located. They do a reverse IP lookup. That's like, if you don't know what that means, it's basically like if I got your phone number and I put it into a system that tell me your name, that's essentially what an IP does. Now, it doesn't tell you the individual person at an organization, but a lot of times it's traceable to an organization itself. So that's how Oracle knows who is using Java. And remember, Oracle only cares if you're using one paid install. That's all it takes. So that's how when Oracle finds out you're using Java. If you want to learn how to turn that off, let us know. We will help you. Can show you how to do that. And that's where the call home feature is. And keep in mind, Java will auto update itself from a free version to a paid version if you let it. And we all have that user. We all have that user who gets a pop-up with a warning and they go, yes, 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 done, 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 forward, next, install, whatever, I got work to do. And they just hit that button. They will update you right out of compliance if you don't prevent them from doing so. So that's a big takeaway from this. Java will update itself out of compliance. Java will prompt your users to update out of compliance. If you don't lock down both, it's a matter of when, not if, you will end up failing that Java audit. It only takes one. Like I said, one user will mess up all of your plans. So there are many versions of Java out there. Some of them are free. Most of them are not. Now, it comes down to either the version number or the update number. And again, I'm going to send you all of this information, so don't worry about it. It gets a little tricky. So we're going to cover the old Javas right now. That's Java 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you're going to see an old version, 8 is the one you're probably going to see. But 5, 6, and 7, they're still out there. We all know the organizations that have that one system that hasn't been updated since 1972 or whatever it might be. But there are old versions of Java, including the Java Web Start, which is technically Java 8. So when it comes to those older versions, what matters is the update, right? So that's what the little U stands for, is the update. So let's just use Java 8 as an example. The last free version was 8 and update 202, and the first paid version is update 211. If you're wondering about the updates between that, they were never released. So there's no, you won't see them. So anyway, if you have Java 8, you need 202 or earlier. If it gets upgraded to 211, now it's a paid version. And that is now true for Java 17 as well. Java 17 is the most important one for today because Java 17 was free. So when Oracle first announced that Java would be a paid subscription, the version of Java that was free, and that didn't matter what update it was, the version of Java that was free was Java 17. So many IT organizations rushed to get their organization onto Java 17 and not the other versions. Well, as of October 2024, 17 is no longer always free. It's only free depending on what update, and that's number 12. And again, we'll send this to you. If you have 17 update 12, still free. If you have 13 or anybody has 13 at your organization who upgraded to 13 or after, they just put your whole organization out of compliance. Now you need to pay for everyone. So you can see how precarious it is to try to keep everyone and every device and everything at your organization on a free version. You've really got to be on top of it if that's the route that you're planning to go. And you can see all the other ones here, 4, 5, 6. Again, most of this probably won't apply. It only applies to certain people in certain situations. We'll send you the update. 17, however, 8 and 17 apply to lots and lots of organizations. So real quick, we're going to talk about Java support in a second, because what's important here is you don't want to migrate to a free version that's only going to be supported for 6 months, because you don't want to migrate every 6 months. We call it the eternal migration, where you never stop migrating. So what's important here is if you're looking to move your organization to a long-term support version, that's what you're looking for, the versions that are long-term support. So for example, 17 was a long-term support version. There are other versions of Java that get released. They're only going to be supported for 6 months or 6 months, and nothing after that. So again, I'll send you this, but this is where we stand at the moment. So as of Java 17, it was free. It is now paid if you have a certain update or later. All right. It's still supported. It's still supported in Premiere till 2026 and extended till 2029. So the next version, what's the new 17, you might say, is 21. So 21, it's here in red. It is currently not a paid subscription, but again, that's not going to last forever. That's only going to last until September 2026. And again, goes out of support in 2028 and extends support in 31. And then we don't really know what the next version that's going to be free is after that. We think it's going to be 25. Oracle hasn't said so, but that's essentially where our guess is now. But if you look at versions 18 through 20, 22, 23, 24, they're only going to be supported for 6 months. So if you migrate to one of those, you're going to be, by the time you're done migrating, you're going to have to start all over again. So they're really just for like experimental things. You've got developers who are trying out new features. Great, they're all day. They can use those, but they're not long-term support versions for your organization as a whole. So let's talk about commercial features. So remember I said it's free. Well, that's only if you're not using commercial features. And there are lots of commercial features. And again, if one of your users is using one commercial features, all of your users are out of compliance. So these are things like the Java Flight Recorder, the Java Mission Control, the Java Advanced Console Management, the Flight Recorder, the usage tracking. I have Mission Control here twice. No, it's the JRocket Mission Control and the Java Mission Control, different things. JRocket Real-Time. So one of them that throws people for a loop here is these are the systems you use to manage, see who has Java at your organization. So if you're using Java features to manage your Java installations, guess what? You're out of compliance because those are enterprise features. You need a license, and therefore everyone else at your organization does too. So again, takeaway from this slide is not only does it have to be the right version, it also has to not be using commercial features, and we'll send you that. So just so you understand what we meant when it comes to the support there, real quick, certain things are covered in sustaining support, which is after the normal support period. So they're going to cover minor updates, bug fixes, security fixes, etc. They'll have certain assistance levels, so like 24-hour support for paid customers. They'll have non-technical support during outside hours, but they're not going to cover certain things like certain security fixes. Not going to cover upgrades. The service is less. So if Java is mission critical to you, you definitely want to be in a premier support environment. You don't want to be using a version that's so old that you're in sustaining support, because security updates are a big deal. And we're going to get into that in a second on how Java is different than most of the free alternatives, not all, but most of the free alternatives when it comes to security. Because one of the last things you want to do is look to migrate to a Java alternative, go all the way down that road, do all that work, and find out the very last minute your security team says, nope, we object, you can't do this. So what are those Java alternatives? So there's a lot. So, when Oracle announced Java is going to be paid, half of the big tech companies in America all announced they're going to make their own version of Java. So there's an OpenJDK, there's Amazon Corretto, there's Azul, Zulu, and Azul Platform Core. There is IBM. There is Microsoft has a version, SAP has a version, right? Everybody's got their own version. Now, out of all of these, I do like to call out one alternative in particular, and that's the Azul products. And the reason I like to call out the Azul products is because unlike all the other alternatives, Azul has the same security philosophy as Java. So what I mean by that is critical patch updates. Now, a critical patch update is going to be that thing your security department or your compliance department tells you that you have to have an alternative. So what that basically means, let's say somebody discovers a critical bug in Java that lets a hacker hack your whole system, right? Well, if it's Java from Oracle, or if it's Azul from one of the Azul products, they release what's called a critical patch update. As soon as that vulnerability is identified, they patch it immediately. All of the rest of them just do monthly patches. So they'll just let that vulnerability sit until the 7th of the month or the 20th of the month or whenever they release their one big patch of the month. Now, for your organization, that might be just fine. You don't care. That's all you need. But for other organizations, specifically some people in healthcare and finance, things like that, government where high security is required, they absolutely have that. And that's why I always say, if you are an IT team or a procurement team, don't look at this in a silo. Do not do all this work without talking to those other departments to see, hey, do they have any critical needs that your free Java alternative isn't going to support? And remember, with most of these free Javas, if something goes wrong, there's nobody to take your call. There's no customer service department. You're getting the customer service that you're paying for, which is not at all. So if you are looking at these, you got to take a real hard look at, do I need anything to replace Java? Will anything do and I don't really care? Or do I need something that is as secure as enterprise level as Java itself? And that's why I call out the two Azules, and they're different from the rest of them here. So next question I'd like to ask is, what is your Java usage? And the poll is hiding from me, so just give me a second. All right. So again, this is the second of three questions I like to ask. Has your organization reviewed where it's using Java? And the reason we'd like to ask this question is Java is everywhere. We've had organizations who they missed that they had like a hand stock inventory thing for their warehouse. They didn't think of it as a computer. Guess what? It had Java. We've had people who do point of sale in retail, and they have something they're taking credit cards for customers, didn't realize it uses Java. The joke we like to make here, because we've seen so many strange places that you never thought it would be, is that if it uses electricity, check it for Java. Seriously, it really will save you in some times, because again, that one handheld device could be the thing that puts you out of compliance. And they're going to know when it calls up and gets its security update. Oracle's going to know. So this is great. I love it. I love that so many of you here have got more yeses than I think I've ever seen. So I'm glad that you guys are looking at it. I would just recommend, be very, very careful about it. If you don't do this often, maybe employ a third party who's good at that kind of thing. But yeah, be very, very careful, because if you miss one, it could get you. Thank you very much. I'll give you another 5 seconds to answer my poll. I really appreciate it, guys. And again, I'll send this all to you after the fact. If you answered my question, I'm going to send you everybody else's answer. It'll be anonymous, of course. You know how these online polls work. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Go back. All right. Okay. This is mostly for my legal teams out there. Make sure you're looking at the right legal agreement. You don't want to look like an idiot and walk in and be all ready to go with, having your argument and ready to negotiate, and you've got the wrong damn Java agreement. So these are the big three that you might see. So originally, if you had Java, if you signed up and paid for Java before April 2019, you probably weren't paying for it, but the license you were using was called the Oracle Binary Code License Agreement. If after 2019, when they announced it was paid, it changed, it became the Oracle Technology Network License Agreement that covered 8 and 7, as well as all the releases of Java 11 through 16. If you are talking about 17 or later, approximately 2023-ish or later, or it's the Oracle No Fee Terms and Conditions Agreement. So again, if you are going to look to pursue this in any sort of legal way, if you're from the legal department and you want to look at the fine terms, go check those out. If your organization cannot find a copy of these original master agreement terms and conditions, please contact us. We have copies. We can help you get a hold of one. Now, we may not have your copy, but we have the generic, official copy. So let's talk about how you're going to get caught. So Java reps will conduct what's called a sales inquiry. And it's not an audit. It might quack like an audit, but it's not an audit. No, essentially, they're going to call you up and say, hey, we see you're using Java. We see you don't have any Java subscriptions. Let's talk about that. And they're not going to forget. They're not going to let it go. You're not going to dodge their call, and they're just going to go away. They're going to be persistent about it. And Java sales inquiry is effectively what happens before an audit. If you don't purchase something, if you don't stop using it. And again, remember, they're going to have records of you using it. You can't just wait for that phone call and then go, oh, damn, let's go quickly. Let's purge it from our systems. No, they've already got a record of you using it. By the time you get the phone call, it's too late. You've got to get out ahead of it before they start looking at you. So if you're wondering who's going to call you, it's probably going to be either someone from the Java sales team, and often they will have somebody from Global Licensing Advisory Services, which is an Oracle division that effectively is their compliance department for licensing. They used to have a different name. They used to be called LMS, or License Management Services. I know a lot of you are familiar with the LMS acronym. It's the same people. They just renamed. Well, it's the same organization. They just renamed it. And what they used to do is say, all right, tell me how many workstations you have, how many processors you have. They don't do that anymore. Now they just ask you for an employee count. And trust me, they already have an idea of how many employees you have, but they're going to be nice. They're going to ask. It's always possible you lost half your employees from a layoff, or you're at explosive growth and you doubled your employees since then. And let me tell you too, if you're the right person to call for this, if you're the authorized person to call for this, they're not just going to call you. They're going to call anybody they can get there, whoever picks up the phone, and gives them the information they want. So keep that in mind. And what I always like to say here with this is, like we talked about earlier, can your users upgrade themselves out of compliance? Can Java update itself out of compliance? If you haven't specifically changed it to be no, the answer is yes, they can do that. And this is where the negotiations will start, whether you realize it or not. It's where it starts. And we simply say, don't negotiate against a Java rep who's done this 1,000 times and it's your first time, because it's going to be bad results. What you want is you want expert help. We would love to help you. There's other organizations, but we think we do it the best. So if you are looking for if you are not looking for expert help, you should be looking for expert help, and you should get a qualified expert to help you, because we've done it hundreds of times, so we can help you understand how to get the best end result for your negotiation. Now, let's talk about everybody who had a very easygoing plan. So I know a lot of people we talk to, their plan's simple. They say, all right, I know Oracle's going to call me eventually. I'll buy a subscription. And when I do, I'll just buy that 1-year subscription, take that year to get my company off Java, and I'm done. That's fine. It's a great plan. No, it's not. It's a terrible plan, because it's not going to work. And let me tell you why it's not going to work. Because Oracle already has your usage. Oracle probably has years of your usage. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, you want a 1-year term? Sure, no problem. That comes with full back fees. In fact, we've seen them let up a little. At this point, they're really only going back to like 2020 and not really 2019, but they're going to hit you up for 4 or 5 years worth of back fees. So they're going to say, yeah, you can pay us for 5 years. Guess what? You already used 4 of them. So that's that was your plan, that's not a 1-year pricing plan. That's a 5-year pricing plan, but you still only get 1 year worth of usage because you get nailed on all the back usage fees. So that 1 year going forward contract is not an option. Now, there's a middle ground. There's 3 years where you're going to get some back fees. So they may only go back a year or two. But again, they're going to go back 2 years and make you pay for 1. So that, again, the 3 years is just going to be a 1-year deal going forward. However, if you sign up for 5 full years going forward, they'll forget about the back usage fees, and they'll give you some good discounted pricing. But as you can see here, anybody who thought they were going to do a 1 and done, forget it. It's 5 years, 4 years back pay. So the only way to not have this happen is to basically either buy a subscription or get off Java or migrate to an alternative before the phone calls start, because by the time you get a phone call, it's too late to do anything. So the last question I like to ask my audience here is, have you ever been audited by Oracle? Where are my questions? Oh, that's my wrong string. 1 second, bear with me. Have you ever been audited in terms by Oracle for Java, or have one of their sales reps call you for a Java audit? And again, this is unfortunately one of those categories. When I first started doing these, everybody said no or not sure. Now we're seeing a lot more yeses. We're seeing a lot more people who've done it. And what we're seeing is a whole new generation of people who've really never had experience with an Oracle audit, or suddenly having a experience for the first time. And Oracle's a bit more aggressive than most organizations. They're not doing anything wrong. It's their intellectual property that you're using, that you agreed to their terms. So they're just going out to collect the money they believe is owed to them. So as I said, yes, the number of yeses seems to climb all the time as Oracle works through its different organizations. And while you're answering my poll here, I can tell you who is Oracle auditing. That's what you might want to know. Who is like the top of that list? If you're a very large organization, you're at the top of the list. If you are a very stable organization, in other words, you're probably not going to go out of business overnight. So we're talking, and if you have a lot of money, so if you're government, if you're education, if you're healthcare, if you are finance, if you're critical infrastructure, you're the type of people who are at the top of Oracle's list. If you are a 10-man organization that specializes in cupcakes, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. But if you're a large institutional type of organization, you are at the top of their list. And the more money you make, you are at the top of their list because they know you have money to pay for it. Again, thank you for answering my questions. I will send this around sometime after the broadcast. All right, so here are the conclusions I'd like to make sure everyone takes away. And again, if you have any questions during this whole event, please, by all means, put them in the question box. We won't actually say your name or anything like that. We'll read the questions anonymously and we'll give you the answers, or we'll contact you after the event if sometimes people ask questions and the answer is, well, that depends on other things. So when it comes to the conclusions, takeaways I want you to have here. The release currently installed at your organization is probably licensable. It probably requires a fee. Not everyone, maybe not even most, but the odds of you having at least one that requires a subscription is very, very high. If you haven't done a hell of a lot of work to make sure it's not true, it probably is. There are different versions of support. don't migrate to a version that is not long-term support unless you want to migrate every 6 months. So make sure if you do try to migrate to a free version, as hard as that is to maintain compliance, make sure it's a long-term support version. There are a lot of alternatives to Java. You don't need to use Java. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, some of them are high security, some of them are low security, some of them maybe no security. I'm not a security guy, I can't tell you. But if you are a security-minded organization, you have compliance teams, talk to them at the beginning of the process. Talk to your legal, talk to your procurement if you're IT. Don't do this in a silo. Get a working group together to make sure all the stakeholders have a voice in this process. You don't want one organization, one division at the very last minute throwing up and yelling, stop the presses, because we've seen it before. So again, talk to your stakeholders, form a committee, get on top of this. Make sure that the version of Java you look at, make sure you're reading the right rules. I showed you those technology agreements earlier. So just make sure that, if you are planning on bringing your lawyers into the room and out maneuvering Oracle, make sure you're looking at the right contract. If you get a proposal from Oracle, look at it. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure there are no terms and conditions that aren't going to work for you. Make sure you can use it where you're allowed to use it in the way you want to use it. And think about anything you might be doing differently that everybody else isn't doing that you might need into your contract. So take a careful look at the dates, the effective dates, what it covers, what it doesn't cover, where you're allowed to use things, all of that. Take a very good look at Oracle's proposals. And understand what it means in terms of what's it going to take to continually migrate to a free version? What's it going to cost me to pay Oracle for a Java subscription? What's it going to cost me to pay somebody else? Is it going to be cheaper? So for example, Azul is cheaper than Java itself. And the free versions are even cheaper than Azul. But also, do I need security or do I not really care as much? All those types of factors come in when you're trying to decide how you're going to do this. The one thing I like to make sure that everybody does is don't do nothing. Don't leave here and think, I'm just going to put my head in the sand and this is all going to go away, because it will not. Oracle is coming for you sooner, if not now, then soon. It's a matter of when, not if. And the more ahead of it you get, the better outcome you are going to have. Know where you're using Java. Know which versions. Know what your upgrade conditions are. Know what the user's allowed to do. Know if Java's calling home. Know about all of these things, because it's going to be very important. Know your alternatives. Can you pick a different one, or do you absolutely need Java itself? But most importantly, by all means, don't go alone. Don't be the person who wanders off into the woods by themselves and hopes for the best. Get expert help to help you. Get the people who've also done this 1,000 times, who can sit in a room with Oracle and say, no, we're going to do it my client's way, not your way. You need help. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk. Any amount of money you spend on bringing in an expert is probably going to pay for itself 5 times over in terms of your final contract, your final costs, all of those things. Because one of the things we see people do is they just look at their cost of Java and they don't factor in what's the cost of all the man hours I'm spending negotiating and researching and trying to find where this is and migrating. You got to think of it comprehensively. Sometimes just buying a subscription is cheaper. Sometimes moving out of Java is cheaper. But the most important part is work with an expert. Don't try to wing it the first time on your own. And with that, I'd like to take any questions from the room. One of the first questions that we get is, so here's my question that I had, one of the ones I got during the submission process. And that was, I already have Java because I purchased an Oracle product that came with Java. I think EBS is a good example. Do I need to buy a specific Java subscription if I already bought a product that came with Java? The answer is no, for the use of that product. So let's just imagine you're a one-person company. You bought an Oracle product. That Oracle product came with Java. Nothing else on your computer uses Java besides that Oracle product. You're good. You don't need a Java license if the product came with Java and that's the only thing you're using Java for. In reality, that doesn't ever seem to happen. Other people work at your company. Other systems use Java. Your computer probably has it, installed for many other programs. So in theory, yes, you don't need to buy one specifically, but you probably need a subscription otherwise anyway. Let me pull up my Q&A to see if we have any others at the moment. No, that was it for the only question. I know we had 1 or 2 other questions that came in during the process, and we're going to get back to you after the fact, simply because, again, like I said before, it's one of those, it depends on a couple of things. So if you were one of the people who submitted a question, there's a couple of complicated questions that got submitted during the registration process. We're going to get it back to you as soon as this event's over. Like I said, we're going to send you a PDF, a Java licensing subscription guide. It's going to have all this information with it as well. We're going to send you a link to the recording. And if there's no final questions, that will conclude our event for today. Thank you very much for spending the time with me here. I really hope you all have the best of outcomes. And like I said, don't go it alone. Get some expert help. It'll have a much better outcome. Thank you very much. We're Miro Consulting. You can reach us online at info@miroconsulting.com. You can email us at info@miroconsulting.com, or you can call us at 732-738-8511, extension 1208. And that concludes it. Again, reach out to us if you have any further questions. Thank you very much. Have a great day.